I'd like to commend Deputy McGrath for introducing this bill to the House. I think it's much needed. And I'd like to commend Minister Noonan and the Government for accepting the bill. I think it's rare in this House, but it's good to see cross-party cooperation. I think there's certainly some issues we can all get behind. Now, this bill is about the power of naming and shaming, and at the heart of that is transparency, how we run the country, how we conduct ourselves, and so forth. And if there's one lesson that we should learn from the last week, it's that transparency must be at the heart of everything we do, central government, at local government, and insofar as possible within the public sector, within the various state institutions, within the civil service. It's the lack of transparency we've seen from the report this week that allowed politicians to act as bag men and bag women for developers, and allowed their colleagues in the councils to take what essentially were bribes and pretend that they were political donations. And certainly the main thing I took out of the Mahon report was that we must make politics and the money involved in politics transparent. Now, politics needs money, but I think the public has a right to know, and there is an obligation on us as politicians to let them know where that comes from. Now, in terms of transparency, we discussed with Governor Honohan in the Finance Committee today the promissory notes. Now, the promissory notes, until recently, were shrouded in secrecy. There are still some questions. There's letters which have been written by the President of the ECB, which have been seen by the Governor, which have been seen by the Minister for Finance, which they are refusing to let us see on the Finance Committee and let the public see, particularly around what pressure was put on the state to pay back the unguaranteed bondholders. Now, the promissory notes and the bank guarantee are probably the most expensive lesson in history in terms of, certainly in this country, in terms of the need for transparency. We still don't know what happened on that famous night. We know that there was no cabinet discussion, there was no cabinet decision, and a decision was made in the middle of the night by two, I imagine, extremely stressed, tired men. Now, this bill is about a more immediate manifestation of transparency. It gives the Financial Services Ombudsman the right to name and shame repeat abusers among the financial service industry. Now, I'm sure every deputy in the House, and I imagine every senator, is dealing with a growing list of credible cases from small business people, from homeowners, from people with personal debts, where there is absolutely no question in my mind that some financial institutions in this country are acting in a utterly reprehensible manner. I don't know if it's illegal, but it is absolutely outrageous, some of the things that are going on. Now, we know that the Ombudsman and the previous Ombudsman have called repeatedly for the ability to name and shame. And it's fantastic that this government has taken this on and taken on Deputy McGrath's bill. What the Ombudsman keeps telling us is they are faced with repeat offenders. They've told us this several times. It's repeat offenders. Same people, they come in, they pay their fine, they know they're anonymous, they're protected, and they walk away. You know, naming these people, naming the senior managers in these organisations matters. It matters to them on the golf course. It matters to them at their dinner parties. It matters that they are named by the Ombudsman. Now, there aren't many institutions in Irish life that are trusted less than politicians, but financial institutions are one of them, sadly only by a little bit.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you, Laskin Curler. Now, the banks, it turns out from some recent surveys, are the least trusted institutions by their own people of any institution on earth. The Irish people trust the Irish financial institutions less than any other people on earth trust any institution in their country. And that is an absolutely staggering find. Trust in this government is low, it's at 35%. Only 10% believe that the government is listening to the citizens' needs, but only 9% of the general public, 9%, trust the Irish banks. So this bill can help rebuild that trust, and how we carry on over the next few months and the changes that we make will hopefully help rebuild the trust in Irish politics as well. So I commend the bill to the House.